Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another Fun Fact Friday. So this Friday, I thought we'd take a look at heartworm disease, and in particular, heartworm disease in puppies. Not the disease itself, but the prevention of. We always think about prevention in our adult dogs, especially here in Florida. You know, heartworm disease is very prevalent. We have mosquitoes all year round. It doesn't matter whether it's the winter or the summer. But in our puppies, we start to not think about it as much because their sizes are changing, their age is really young, and it is so important no matter what their age. You may hear from a lot of different sources when you first get a puppy to wait till a certain age to start on your heartworm preventative, and I'll tell you that's one thing that I recommend is no matter what the age, start them on prevention as early as you get them. 6 weeks, 8 weeks old. Heartworm prevention, in particular HeartGuard that we use here, is good at those age groups. It's very safe and should be given as early as possible to prevent them from getting heartworm disease. So that's the first tip, is start as young as possible. The second tip is when we're talking about large breed dogs in particular, and that's to buy individual doses. Our weight ranges for those heartworm preventatives are really important in making sure that preventative is efficacious. And so if you have the size, they grow out of that size, and you're using the wrong size heartworm preventative, you may not be preventing heartworms to the extent that you could be. And so making sure in those large breed dogs, those Great Danes, those Rotties, those Dobermans that are going to grow quickly, especially in those first few months, 6-8 months of life, they're going to grow fast and outgrow heartworm preventative in as early as a month. So buying those doses individually at that age group, going to your vet even just to get a weight, not for a full exam, but just to get that weight and buy that appropriate size heartworm prevention is so important when we're talking about making sure that they're on the appropriate prevention. And then once their weight is stable, they're staying in the same weight class for a few months, then you can buy as many doses as you like. But initially making sure that we are getting that right dose for their size pet in that moment. And then talking about testing. Heartworm testing is very important that we do it every year. I always make the joke that heartworm prevention is like birth control. It's not 100%. We like to wish it is and hope it is, but it's not. And so if we miss a day in giving it, or even if just, we give it exactly as directed, no medication's perfect 100% of the time. And so it's for those pets that we want to make sure that we test them and catch it as soon as possible before that heartworm has a chance to cause damage to the heart. Because there are treatments available if we can catch it as soon as possible. And so we test every year in our adult dogs, but in our puppies, when do we start testing is a big question. And so most times we recommend testing between 6 and 9 months, usually around 9 months. And that's because it can take 6 months for that baby heartworm, essentially, that microfilaria, once they get it from the mosquito, for that to turn into an adult heartworm. It takes 6 months for that to happen. And our tests only test for adult heartworms, and in particular, only female adult heartworms. So they're not perfect. The test isn't perfect, but it's as good as we've got at this time. And so testing after 6 months, we'll make sure that you don't miss any. If we test earlier than that, we could miss a few that they would have tested positive if we waited till that 6-month mark. So at least as old as 6 months, but usually around 9 months, just to make sure we don't miss any from those first few weeks when they're with mom, or most of the time they're not getting prevention those first days of life. So testing at that 6-month mark and then yearly after that is so important to make sure that if for whatever reason we develop heartworm disease, we can treat it ASAP before we risk damage to that heart, which is what happens if they have heartworm disease over time. So I hope this gave you a little insight into how important heartworm disease is no matter what life stage you're in particular in puppies, and how important it is especially for large breed puppies that grow quickly to get it appropriate for their weight and making sure that we're treating them with the right size medication. There's also lots of options out there for heartworms. There's shot, there's the pill, there's a couple different kinds of pills. So talk to us here at University Animal Clinic. Dr. Simonson and myself can really help tailor the type of heartworm preventative that's best for your pet and easiest for you to remember to give, because that's the other caveat to that, right? We got to give it for it to work. Message us below if you have questions about what's right for your pet. Also, leave a comment below in what you want to see next time. Again, I want to make sure that we're touching on all those touch points that you guys have questions about. And share, give this a like, share it with all your friends. I want everybody to know how important heartworm disease is, especially in their puppies. And I can't wait to see you guys next week for the next Fun Fact Friday. Thanks.